Everyone, welcome back to day one of the Star Series finals. I'm joined by RDU on the floor, and we're going to do a little bit of an interview right now, but then we're going to talk about this game that's behind us. First of all, I just want to ask you, you haven't played yet. We've been moving through Group A so far today. We only got 2 series left, but you've kind of been hanging out, waiting, watching all the matches. What's it like as a pro player when you're not playing the first day? What is the preparation like for you?
It's a very good feeling because I don't have the chance of getting eliminated in the first day, which is like the worst feeling ever when you're playing a LAN. And now I can just chill at the venue, scout a little bit, see how it is for the people that are playing, the pressure that they're put under, and I don't know, just relax for tomorrow, and tomorrow I'll try my best, and hopefully I will not get eliminated.
Well, we've alluded to it a little bit. One of the things that's also been going on today is all of the pro players have been giving chips to actually gamble with, and you can bet on anyone when they go into the series. You can pick whichever player you think is going to come out on top. You were undefeated until the last series. So what's it actually like for you? How are you actually determining who you place your bet on?
Firstly, I look at the lineup, and then I look at the player strength, and I try to make an arithmetic calculation. And no, I'm just like, I'm not purely guessing, but I look at the lineup, I look at the player, and then I'm like, yeah, this guy is probably more likely to win, like 65, 35, 70, 30, depending on like the lineups. Like we see here, like nobody voted for Naiman because his lineup is incredibly bad against Zalae. But like what Naiman has going for him is that if he somehow beats Zalae, he feels like super confident against Stansifka. Stansifka's lineup is like the lineup that he wanted to beat.
So now that you mentioned it, I think we should show everyone at home it is unanimous here. Everyone has voted for Zalae going into that next matchup. But I want to bring up with you one of the things that happened. Zalae was favored in his last matchup. Now he finds himself in the lower bracket about to play against Naiman. What actually happened that forced Zalae into this position in the first place, even when having that better lineup?
I don't know if he had a better lineup that much. I voted for Stansifka personally, and I think there were like 2 of us, but like yeah, I only lost the last one. I voted for Stansifka, and he lost to PF, but I think I'm gonna get the next 2 ones right. Like I think Zalae is gonna beat Naiman, and then it's gonna be a very close one between Zalae and Stansifka, and I'll probably vote for Stansifka because I think he has better endurance, and Zalae traveled a shit ton. But other than that, I think yeah, it's gonna be a very good end of the group stage.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to that as well, too. Zalae and I had to travel similar distances, and right now, definitely feeling it, especially after you have a series that goes on for it was like about 3 hours, that first series today. So that's definitely going to play a factor on the player that might be jet lagged. But before we let you go back to sitting at the chair and just watching the matches, tomorrow you're going to be taking that role as the pro player again. How do you feel about your group? How do you feel you're actually positioned?
I feel really well for the first matchup because I brought a control lineup, mainly because my first opponent was very expected to play aggro. And unfortunately, the other 2 people in my group didn't respect aggro at all. So it's going to be a very weird situation where I want to play against the aggro player, and then I have to hope that if I lose, the aggro player wins so I can face the aggro player again. But like, it's going to be very close. And I'm going to play control decks, which obviously I'm not really known for, but that's just because until now, until Angoro, I don't think control decks were that good, but now they're really good, so now I'm playing them too.
Well, be sure to tune in tomorrow to actually see RDU step in and get to play some matches. But now we're going to finish up Group A here today. Going to throw it up to the casters.
Oh, that's us.
That is us. We are casting the game. I am Firebat. You are Lothar, and we are bringing you Zalae versus Naiman.
Yeah, well, the 2 losers.
The 2 losers, yeah.
You know, it was just 1 match, right?
Right.
The first one, actually, as we have heard in the interview, if someone didn't tune in the beginning of the tournament, the first match was actually 3 hours long.
Yeah, it was intense. We casted that one.
Yes,
yeah.
we did, and we felt the exhaustion. So now, when you think about the players, right? Naiman going into that 3 hours long match, how does he prepare after that, right? He needs to chill. Like he had some time, of course, because there were still 2 matches in between.
Sure.
But it still takes a toll.
It does. It takes a little bit of a toll. You got to have the right mindset going into it. You got to remember, like, you're here to win. This is a tournament. You don't go to that many events. There's usually like weeks long between events.
Yeah.
So you just kind of put yourself in a mindset where you're like, all right, I am going to not sleep for the next 3 days, and I'm just going to go as hard as I possibly can on Hearthstone while I'm at the event. And just put it all out there, man. Every bit of mental strength I can possibly muster.
It's
gonna
important.
do it. Yeah.
Yep. So we have seen we have seen actually every single deck from Naiman before, right? Actually, we didn't see what was banned last
The
time.
Mage was banned from Naiman this time, and
We didn't see something last time. I can't remember what was it though. Do you remember?
I'm not really sure what we didn't see from Naiman. The game went to game 7, and I think his Mage was not banned. It is the Freeze Mage though.
Yeah.
So the Freeze Mage is banned. So he's gonna have availability of his Druid, I think, or.
I need to check actually.
Right, but either way, Naiman, yawning. He's a little tired, but he's brought all anti-aggro decks, which perform very well against things like aggro Druid, Pirate Warrior, that sort of stuff. He's got 2 Galaka Crawlers in his Priest, for example, whereas Zalae has brought anti-control decks, which are decks that are specifically designed to beat decks that are designed to beat aggro. So this is the best possible matchup for Zalae's lineup he could possibly get. He knows it. All the players know it. We saw on the scoreboard over there, or the voting board, every player voted for Zalae to be the one to win this match.
And that is telling, right?
Yeah.
When every single player here just says like unanimously, yeah, Zalae gonna win, that means that the lineup is not even about the player, because both of the players are just top tier,
Oh,
right?
for sure, yeah.
So it's more about the preparations and the lineup from both, and that means, well, there's a huge advantage just because of the decks that Zalae did pick.
Yeah. He's double Galaka Crawler Dragon Priest from Naiman is going to be up against the Jade Druid from Zalae. Now, typically the way this matchup works is the Priest hangs in there for a while, but slowly, or sometimes rather quickly, the Jades get to a point which are just unmanageable. Once they get outside the range of Dragonfire Potion, the Jade Druid often just steamrolls away with the game. They can keep enough up on tempo while stacking the Jade count to never just really get burned down too quickly.
All right. Well, in this case, Zalae is not having a really good opener. Actually, this is one of the matchups where not having an opener actually hurts you a lot, because a priest can just go wide with the board as soon as possible by playing small minions. The attack is not really that important, but the fact that they will have a high HP and they can be buffed by Talon Priests and they can buff a Powered Shield and just maintain some board control, you will be able to just roll over the Druid as soon as possible, since he lost the way of dealing with huge minions without dealing the damage.
Right. That's the Priest kind of has this window of opportunity in the early game. The Priest deck is the beatdown deck. It needs to assemble a strong enough board or enough damage to be able to close out the game before the Jade Druid player, Zalae, is able to ramp his mana and Jades to a point that is unmanageable. Because there's no real comeback mechanisms in Druid particularly. Zalae is playing Yogg-Saron, so that's his one panic button that could sometimes save him if he falls too far behind early. But other than having that Yogg-Saron to try and reset, he's got nothing. He's got to fight for the board, quite honestly. So this is a big opportunity for Naiman to slowly pull ahead.
God.
That's, yeah, 3 Draconid Operatives.
It's not even that. I was like just looking at Zalae's hand and...
Oh, yeah. Not a lot going on there.
Oh, well, he can follow up with a swipe, but that's really not that useful against this type of... Oh,
4 Draconid Operatives.
so you take the 4 Dragons operative?
Yes, yes.
It's like... I think it's the most powerful minion against Druid that you can actually play.
I think so as well. I think, though, because you already have 3, maybe you can take the Deathwing Dragonlord. It's also an extremely powerful minion, but I don't mind 4 Draconid Operatives. It's pretty good. He's going to be able to go coin Draconid Operative into Draconid Operative into Draconid Operative into Draconid Operative.
And that means that the Druid will need to deal 24 damage to deal with those minions, while he didn't even play a single card yet.
Yeah, he hasn't hit Wild Growth. He hasn't done anything. That is a really unfortunate draw for Jade Druid. I would say, looking at the board state as it is, even though it's an unfavored matchup for the Priest, I'd say the Priest is favored in this position.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's you know, it's going to be tough for Zalae actually to come back in this, just by how the opening hands went there.
Well, in this case, like, he can't even anticipate what's going to happen in the upcoming turn. He knows there's still the coin. And he probably feels like there might be a Draconid Operative next turn because of the fact that 2 his turns were played. There's still 2 naturally played in that deck. So the odds of having a
really high.
A operator next turn actually is very high. The problem is that Zalae has no way of making a decent follow-up against that Draconid Operative, even the first one.
Yeah.
What does he do? Does he play Nourish to ramp up? That seems like the...
You might have to just get to Yogg faster, yeah.
Yeah.
You might just have to Nourish ramp trying to get towards your Yogg-Saron and just hope that that's enough to reset the board. Naiman has the ability here to get Innervate to try and invest for like big tempo plays. He's going on 5 mana next turn, so it's going to be a while before that can pan out. Or he could even try and take Wild Growth and just out-ramp the Druid. It's not that bad this early on, because he's going to be able to Wild Growth on turn 5, which is essentially like creating 5 more mana. But he does end up going with the Innervate. It's a more straightforward, good card.
Okay, so he played so far 1 spell.
He's played Wrath, and that's it.
So if he plays... he needs to plan ahead here, like really ahead. This turn, Nourish, to get 2 mana, he can then follow it up with a Jade Idol, or the Hero Power to kill the Historian. I'm guessing that the Jade Idol will be probably better, because it basically does the same almost. It doesn't kill the minion, of course, but it soaks 1 damage. And it allows him to play, at some point, the Druid Golems by 1 turn faster, right? And then turn 8 will be the Primordial Drake. I mean, not turn 8, but the 8 mana will be Primordial Drake to finish off the 1/1 anyway, and probably the 1/2, because it might just trade with the 1/1.
Sure.
In this case, of course, it doesn't really matter because he used the...
More Innervates. You could take a Nourish so you could keep getting pressure going, but with another Operative in your hand, I guess you don't really need it. You have your biggest minions already. Just get them out on the field faster might be better.
Well, if you have a 5 mana 5/6 that gets you a card, it's better than 5 mana nothing to draw you 3 cards, right?
Right. So you can just take the Innervate and then play 2 Draconid Operatives next turn, right?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's actually
turn
insane.
7,
yeah.
he will have played 4 Draconid Operatives.
I think I never saw that.
Yeah, that's about as good as it gets for the Dragon Priest.
And even after that, you still have follow-ups. It's not like you run out of gas.
Right. Your Dragonid Operatives are giving you follow-up.
It's insane. Like, if every single game will be like that, Naiman can take it.
Yeah.
But this is a huge blowout. Zalae just didn't have anything to play it until turn 4. And even then, the turn 4 was just a swipe, so it was quite horrible.
It's not over yet. Always trust in Yogg-Saron.
It has to be Doom, right?
It has to be like Doom or Twisting, something like that. He's only played 2 spells.
Well, Shadow Flame can be also, right?
Okay, sure.
An option.
It's not bad. I mean, there's a bunch of board clears in the game.
All right.
So you may not want to play double Draconid Operative this turn.
You might just go for Powered Shield.
Yeah, and the
then
heals.
the heal? Yeah.
Oh my god. Is that for real? I guess you take it. And you have enough resources with the Power Word Shields, right? So you get to refill your hand.
Okay, if he takes the Innervate, he still has...
He can go Innervate, Innervate, Draconid Operative, Power Word Shield, keeping both of his Draconid Operatives alive while he value trades it. He could play 2 Draconid Operatives and preserve 2 Draconid Operatives.
And they will be 6 HP.
Yeah.
So that means they will be out of range of a single swipe.
Of a single swipe, yeah. That's insane.
And you know that the second swipe is in the deck.
Right. Because you saw it on the Discover there.
Well, he goes for something similar, but just without the 4th Draconid operator. So
right.
I don't blame him, to be honest.
He keeps more healthy minions on board this way. Less power in play, though.
How come? What do you think? I mean, he played 1 Wrath. Played 1 Primordial Drake. The second Primordial Drake would be problematic, right?
The second Primordial Drake would have been a blowout, yeah. So he plays around second Primordial Drake with this line, and that's Probably mostly because Zalae has had really dead cards in his hand the whole game, hasn't played very many things, so he's afraid of that second Primordial Drake coming down to try and clear the board.
That's just silly. It's one of those games that you're gonna, you know, talk about after the match. It's like, oh my god, did you see that?
Yeah, that's insane. So, I guess here as Zalae, you try and just juice the Yogg up.
So, Feral Rage, swipe, Hero Power to clear 1, right?
Playing out the Aya this turn, and then armoring up with the Feral Rage. So he's got 3 spells for Yogg-Saron. He's got the Wrath, the Nourish, and that's it.
He can still go for a swipe and Jade Idol next turn.
Okay.
To fuel it a little bit, because the Aya allows him to trade and maybe make a favorable swipe next turn. But at the same time, I don't feel like adding more spells to the Yogg will actually benefit you. Because if you want to win this game, probably the best thing to do would be just play Yogg with 1 spell and think it's Twisting Nether or...
Well, you get more chances with more spells.
Yeah, but... Or maybe not even that, but something that clears your opponent's board and keeps your Yogg alive.
Well, ideally, yeah, that would be perfect. And then, you know, play 2 Call of the Wilds behind that for sure.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, that's... the more the merrier.
Well, 2 operatives are pushing the limits here.
Yeah. He's just trying to make his minions as high health as possible, as difficult to remove as possible, so he can continually push in that chip damage.
So, is this the turn?
You could just swipe. It's
If
not
he
that
swipes...
bad.
If he swipes the operative...
Well, you could swipe the Tar Creeper.
But if he swipes the Tower Creeper, then the 1/1 or the Hero Power needs to go into it.
Right.
And then you still don't have a way of killing an operative. Like, there's no way.
You could just take trades on board and then play Jade Behemoth, Jade Spirit. It's the maximum
I like
possible
that.
Jade ramping.
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, you're not facing down lethal damage a lot of the time. The only thing that kills you is the 4th Draconet Operative into Swiper Feral Rage. So, oftentimes you don't play around the 4th Draconet Operative.
Or we just innervate. You know?
It probably would get just an Innervate. Statistically speaking, I think that is the card that has been Draconet Operative the most this tournament.
Okay, he goes for the swipe. So probably the Behemoth will be played anyway.
Yeah.
Interesting trade, because that's something I was just thinking a little bit. What it does, it makes the turn for Naiman a little bit awkward, because he would like to heal his own Dragon Operative. He cannot play his own Primordial Drake because it's turn 8, so he needs to sacrifice the Dragon Operative first.
Right. He does just have the Shadowward Pain, though, which makes quick work of the Behemoth. Can push 10 damage behind it, play another 5-6 if he wants.
Well, then you probably should start with the Dragon Operative.
Right. But I don't see him taking any sort of defensive lines here. I think he wants to be pushing aggressively as he can.
Alright, no Innervate this time. And those are actually not that great.
Nourish is pretty good in Priest. Being able to refill the hand can allow you to just keep going against Jade Druid, but yeah,
he's 7 cards in hand, right? So
yeah, but eventually you have less. It's a long-term plan. Like, Behemoth and Wild Growth both seem just terrible, though. He takes the 6 mana 3/6.
I mean, it still has 6 health that the Druid needs to go through.
Sure.
Okay.
I think it's time. You could go for the Gadget cycle play. You have 2 Innervates and 2 Earthen Scales.
But 1 Earthen Scale doesn't give you much.
No.
Okay, the minions are alive. And the Yogg has charge.
The Yogg is green.
Oh my god!
A commanding shout keeps everything alive.
What the hell just happened?
Oh, he died. He died. It looked like it was going to be so crazy. And then it just killed him.
I mean, the Yogg did get a charge from charge, most likely, right?
It was just green because he was dead, I think.
Shouldn't be just not green at all?
I don't know how the game works like that. Ask Disguise Toast, man. He'll probably tell you. He probably knows all the iterations of what the signals mean when you play Yogg.
That was hilarious. Like, the Call of the Wild was actually insane because my God, Piggy.
Yeah, the Huffer.
I forgot the Huffer. Then Huffer, with 5 attack, allows to clear, alongside those 2 other Jade Golems, both of the healthy...
Everything would stick,
healthy,
too.
Yeah, healthy operators, and that means he still has a taunt. And that's a 4/4 taunt that cannot be killed by Power Word, Pain, or Death.
Well, it'd be 5/4. The Leok,
yeah.
But still, Priest doesn't have charge minions, so he would have been able to just clear the entire board, develop his 7-mana super board, and just win. But the Yogg giveth, the Yogg taketh, man.
All right.
But
that was a funny game.
Yeah, Naiman up 1-0. 4 Draconid Operatives, 3 Innervates.
And 1 Jade Behemoth that didn't see play.
And 1 Jade Behemoth that didn't see play. But, yeah, that was a rough one. You hate to see that if you're a Zalae fan out there. He didn't have a play until turn 4, and his play on turn 4 was Wrath Hero Power. But he's queuing back up with the Jade Druid, trying to get another win with it against the anti-aggro Jade Shaman from Naiman. So oftentimes the way this matchup kind of pans out is the Jade Druid has a lot less reactive tools than the Shaman does. So it can just kind of be proactive the entire game, where the Shaman eventually runs out of steam and dies. Just because the Jade Golems, you can't react to a Jade Golems forever. Eventually they get too big to react to.
And then even Volcano isn't enough.
Right, exactly.
To clear 1.
Yeah.
Jade Golem. We actually have seen this today. The biggest golem was 1616, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they get huge. That was in the first series, yeah.
Well, to be fair, whenever I did cast Zalae in the group stage, he had the most unlucky draws every single game.
So you're cursing him. Whenever you cast him, he loses?
I think he had the same when someone else was casting him as well.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Okay. He's just an unlucky guy.
Yeah, might be. I mean, look at that. Again, no Jade Idols, no Wild Groves, no Jade Blossoms. That's 6 cards.
No Innervates?
No Innervates. That's 4 cards, I mean, actually 8 cards that he didn't draw in this and the previous game.
Well, it's not too bad here. He uses the Feral Rage to clean off the Mana Tide. Jade Spirit on 4 is just fine. And in this matchup, when you draw, like in any of the control matchups, when your opponent's not trying to kill you, which oftentimes Jade Shaman isn't really trying to kill you in the early stages, having just the ability to have those Wild Growths and Innervates later on allows you to go infinite with the Jades that much faster. So it's actually not too bad not to have them.
But you need to go crazy with the Auctioneer then.
Right, you need to set up the Auctioneer. So that's going to be Zalae's game plan throughout this match, is building his Jade ramp, building his card count with Nourish, cycling through the deck, and then creating the most busted, most insane gadgets in turn you can think of.
And then kill yourself with Yogg.
Well, hopefully not that, but he's trying to then create, 20/20 Jade Golems and then Earthen Scales them and have infinite life.
Oh, Innervate.
It's a pretty good pickup for that gadget a little bit later on, but...
I thought it's a Priest card.
You would think that from watching the last series, for sure. But it is, in fact, a Druid card.
The 2 unorthodox cards that actually Zalae has in his Druid list are only Harrison Jones and Yogg, basically.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that sticks out, right?
Right. In standard Jade Druid, a lot of times those are instead the Ooze, or they are a Tar Creeper.
Yeah.
So he's kind of taken 3 drops and turned 1 into a 5 drop and 1 into a 10 drop, making it a little greedier, a little bit better against control. Naiman here goes with a Totem instead of a Jinyu Water Speaker.
Well, he can still follow it up with a weapon, right?
He could follow it up with a weapon, but since he rolled Spell Power, I think he's going to follow it up with Maelstrom.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the logic was that he was going to follow it up with a weapon. That is a sick 1-drop.
That's one of the best you can get, actually.
Getting an additional card.
That is super sick. Man, Mel's Portal actually got buffed in this expansion.
Did it? I didn't really do the
think so.
math. You
I think so. I mean, just the
There are a
possibility.
lot of good 1-drops, huh? But you lose like Tunnel Trog. That was a good one.
But you still have
Flame Imp's still there.
Flame is still there. The Kvaldir is still there.
Okay. Yeah, so you only really lost Tunnel Trog.
Oracle is gained right now.
Gained, yeah.
Glacier Shard is still a decent 1-drop. It's 2-1, right? Then you can.
I don't know. I wouldn't call 2-1 a good 1-drop.
Why not? It's decent.
Okay. But Naiman just lowering the cost of his thing from below, trying to get it in range where he can echo it in the same turn. I imagine he holds on to it now, just plays the Hot Spring Guardian. You want to land that thing from below with the Spirit Echo. Hey, you know what? Screw everything I said. He's going full tempo with it. He does not want to land it.
I like it because we know how Druid needs to react to those, right?
Right.
That's not gonna happen.
He
So
needs to either swipe hero power it or feral rage hero power it to remove it.
yeah.
If it's not removed, he threatens to be able to take a value trade with it and heal it back up with Jinyu Water Speaker for huge amounts of tempo. But,
Or just play the Spirit Echo next turn, right? Like when Druid players see those kind of boards, it's like no way I can allow this to be Spirit Echoed.
right, they try and panic and remove it as fast as possible. So, I mean, Zalae would love to innervate Primordial Drake here, but he may have to just answer this thing from below instead.
So swipe hero power, kills only 2 minions basically, and you still take 4 damage to the face.
Yeah.
But I feel like you need to keep the innervates for Auctioneer turn, so
Right.
he goes very passive this turn.
Yeah, he doesn't even react at all to this thing from below. He's not scared. He's just setting up to be able to play Primordial Drake next turn to hopefully clear, and then have a powerful gadget turn behind it. Another thing from below picked up for Naiman, so he can really add to this pressure.
What he can even do is just play the Hot Spring Guardian for some value right now.
Right, take the 5/5 into the 2/3. He could heal it back up. Trade off the 2/2 with the other 2 minions.
Well, shouldn't he trade first with the Oracle, see the card that he gets first?
He should if he's going to, yeah. See what happens there. So, a little bit of a sequencing error.
Oh, okay. Weapon. He wants to play the weapon.
Yeah, he does.
Well, the Hearthstone Jones is still decent.
He's got 2 of them against Druid. Not the class you want double Harrison Jones against.
But it's just a 5/4 minion, so I guess that he eats a swipe at some point. But if your opponent will use the swipes already, because there are decent targets for it, like double swipe here would actually be amazing.
Primordial Drake swipe is pretty good. He trades the 2/2 into the 5/5. Goes Primordial Drake, innervate, swipe, killing the entire board if he wants.
The problem with that is he loses the insane cycle value out of Auctioneer.
Right.
That's what he needs to assess. Like he has no way of refilling the hand.
So how much is it worth giving up? He could just use Gadget this turn with both innervates and see what happens.
If he gets
Just sets up for the Primordial
Wrath?
Drake next turn, right?
if he gets a Wrath, that's also really decent this turn. Because then he can kill both 5/5s, can he? No, he's still lacking 1 damage.
Well, there's no Bloodlust, so he doesn't have to react to this board super aggressively. So I would really like to see him Gadget this turn, I think. But the problem with that is he's out of time. He can't Gadget with the rope burning.
Oh yeah.
So it looks like he's just going to Primordial Drake and maybe just pass with that.
I think so.
Or innervate the hero power, kill one of the... Sure, you don't need to kill both of them. He is going all clear.
Wow, okay.
Very aggressive clearing here. That is a lot of resources to expend. If he starts running out of steam later on or can't assemble a gadget turn, then this is where the game went wrong.
But he still has 2 one mana spells that he can play next turn. But
Yeah.
the problem is he cannot like completely roll over Shaman when it comes to card advantage now.
He's going to be struggling a little bit to connect through the rest of his deck. But his ability to go infinite with Jade Idols is definitely going to be hindered because you need to draw a lot of cards to be able to go infinite, and it's going to be much harder to do unless things line up really well for him.
Well, Fandral next turn wouldn't be that bad.
Fandral could help, yeah. Get extra Jade Idols in your deck, but...
I don't know. That was a tricky turn. That was a really tricky turn.
I don't like the play. I think it's too defensive against what Naiman's doing. Like, that was the first play I thought. I saw it, and then I was like, no. But
I mean, it's 4 cards for basically 2.
Yeah, yeah.
And now if he plays the Auctioneer, it just cycles through 2. And you don't really develop that much. And most likely the Auctioneer is dead. And so if you don't draw a Nourish next turn, you will be in a big pile of trouble.
Right, or a Wild Growth to go with the gadgets in. So he only has like 2 really favorable draws, and he doesn't have a lot that he can actually develop this turn. Like,
okay, what about Auctioneer into Feral Rage
and
make
hope it sticks?
Yeah, and hope it sticks. Like, you're really behind.
That seems sketchy. He's going with the gadget here, the Earthen Scales.
Okay.
This makes sense as well, because the only thing that kills it either way is really like Hexed Evolve or Jade Lightning, whether or not you kill the 2/4 or not.
Shuffling first? I think you
so.
need to, right?
He's not shuffling it.
Interesting. And he's not shuffling those either, right?
No, he shuffled that one.
Okay. Okay.
He was not looking to try and draw Jade Idols, though. He wants to find, you know, second gadget or Nourish. So he's lowering his odds. He's getting 1 extra draw towards the second gadget or the Nourish.
Even the Fandral, just to have it in hand.
Sure, for when you get the idols.
Okay, that was definitely an interesting turn. Now the Auctioneer.
Oh, low roll on the devolve.
That's tilting. It could have been worse. It could have been a bomb squad.
It could have been a bomb squad. That would have been much worse.
But man, both of those are really low rolled. Like even the Edwin van Leef.
2 mana 1/1.
Yeah. He actually has that flavor text, right? Edwin van Leef.
Yeah, yeah, if you right-click it in the collection.
I was so sure that someone is so brilliant on Reddit that he just thought about that joke like instantly after seeing the card. I'm like, wow, some people are just geniuses when it comes to jokes. And then it turns out, yeah, it's a flavor text. So.
Yeah, Blizzard's pretty good at those jokes, man. They put a lot of funny flavor text in the game. Goes with Harrison Jones. He could have went with Jinyu Water Speaker plus Weapon to full clear, maintaining a 2/4 and a 3/6. But I guess he assumes Jinyu might get more value in the future. This really walks into swipe, though.
One swipe was played, though.
Okay.
Still kind of awkward.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything to play behind it, really.
Well,
but
the Jade Blossom is like 4/4 minion. It is 4/4, right?
It's a 4/4.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not that bad. You'd swipe Jade Blossom, hero power down the 2/1. But yeah, Naiman, I would have liked to see him trade in the 2/4 into the 2/2, heal it with Jinyu Water Speaker, and then utilize Jade Claws to finish off the 1/1. Really giving himself his Jade Golem from the Claws, as well as 3/6 in play. I think he might be afraid of playing the Jade Claws because he fears Harrison Jones, and he's saying that I'm so far ahead right now that as long as I don't give my opponent Harrison value, I'm going to win.
But he knows that the Harrison Jones is still in the deck. I mean, it was.
Well, it was. That was
3 turns ago.
That was a while ago, yeah. But at this point, you can't afford to give your opponent any card draw, right? You're exhausting the Jade Druid right now. So if you can avoid playing the weapon the entire game, you can just deny that card draw from Harrison and really shut him down. And I think that's what Naiman's trying to do. That's why he's just refusing to weapon this minion. Well, I think it's time.
Yeah.
Well, no, you could Primordial Drake and clear.
Let me check my watch. Yeah, it's time.
It's time. You can get away with the clear with the Primordial Drake. It's not bad. You've seen 1 Hex already, if it's not met by another Hex. The problem is once you start getting ahead on board, the value of Yogg decreases.
I agree. And I feel like I would rather see the Yogg being played here, because he's still behind. If he gets card draw from the Yogg, it's amazing.
It's so huge, yeah.
Even if it dies in the process, it's still amazing to just have those cards in your hand. And it's highly likely that he will actually draw cards from the Yogg.
Yeah.
Okay. The Volcano can deal with it. And there is follow-up to the Volcano. You will be overruled by 3 for the next turn, which allows you to play the Chieftain. Although it comes to a point where Naiman should start looking to get value out of Spirit Echo.
Yeah, he should definitely start, but it's... So if he plays his last Jade card, that's when he runs into areas where Spirit Echo doesn't get too much value. So you're saying should maybe be afraid to play the Chieftain.
he knows the deck better, so I'm assuming he will make the correct decision when it comes to the when to Spirit Echo, when to not. But at the same time, I would be kind of worried like against playing against Druid. Like he was ahead on board already, and he lost it twice, right?
Yeah.
So what if that happens again? Might have problems to just regain the control.
Well,
Alright.
I think it's time.
Wait,
Nope, it's not time yet.
my watch is already like wrong twice.
Well, I think it's because the time change when we traveled here, right?
yeah,
So
it's
the
1
watch,
hour.
Yeah, it's a 1 hour time change
Okay.
for Yogg time.
In 1 hour, the Yogg should be played.
Okay.
I'm gonna set the timer
Yeah,
as well.
Yogg's a little jet lagged, you know. It's a long trip to get here. Now he has the Spirit Echo. So if he plays the Jade Chieftain now, he can't guarantee the Spirit Echo. But if he waits until next turn, he could play the Spirit Echo. But if he overloads for any amount of mana, he cannot Jade Chieftain and Spirit Echo in the same turn. So he doesn't want to lose tempo, but he doesn't want to get outvalued either. So he's in this a little bit of a dilemma here. And he's choosing just to drop the Chieftain, hoping that it sticks around. On board currently,
It's dead.
it's dead.
So
But who knows? Maybe Zalae's tempted by the value trade.
that's so interesting. Like, he is not losing yet if you just wait with that Chieftain one turn, right? But then
It's sketchy. If your opponent draws another Jade card, plays another Jade card, that's a 6/6 Jade Golem coming out for free. They
That
could
is true.
easily get to a point where they out-tempo you. So I understand it from Naiman. He's down the Volcano, so he does have to keep up with the board from Zalae at all times.
Huh.
I think Zalae has the ability here to utilize Earthen Scales quite nicely. You can change your Behemoth into a 4/4, take the value trade on the 3/3.
You think so?
Utilize Pharaoh Rage plus Hero Power to kill off the Chieftain, and then your 5/5 kills the 3/2. You keep everything alive.
wait, is Naiman playing Lightning Storm? He's playing double Volcano, but I'm not sure actually about the Lightning Storm. In those tournaments, it's so important to actually
Make sure you're...
make sure you're not playing into one of the owls from your opponent, right? So, wait a second. For some reason, I made my iPad black-white right now.
He does not have Lightning Storm in the deck. So if you can
There's
assemble
still
some value
Mouse and
trades...
Portal. And
There's-
if he high rolls the air power totem,
Yeah. So Zalae is going to be sacrificing his 3/3 there, holding on to the Earthen Scales instead of having a 4/1, just to play around the AoE cards that Naiman could potentially have with the Maelstrom Portal. And so that he has more fuel in case he draws Gadgetzin. Gadgetzin would be a huge draw for Zalae, allowing his Earthen Scales to cycle into more Jade Idols and what have you.
still getting kind of awkward. When it comes to the
Naiman's
board.
running out of steam.
And that's the Spirit Echo problem, right? So,
Yeah. Stranded right now. Getting rewarded for holding on to that Earthen Scales as the gadget is picked up for Zalae. He can now cycle through his deck. Potentially.
Well, there are 4 Jade Idols still there.
Right.
4? No, actually 3.
Played one. He cycled one.
He played
and then he
two.
played another.
He played 2 because the turn after he played Innervate Swipe, he top decked the second Jade Idol, so he had the option to play actually 3 cards with 3 mana. Oh, it's Yogg time! Oh wait, did he kill himself?
The Yogg is green. Maybe that means he killed himself again. Or maybe it has charge this time. We're not really sure.
Subtle tweeted at me that it actually, when it kills you, everything goes green.
Okay.
But this time
It's not everything. It's only the Yogg this time.
Man, what?
Holy smokes.
Second time?
His Yoggs are so good until they kill him.
And another Moonfire. Actually, that's the second time he got the Moonfire as well.
He had a Jade Lightning this turn, by the way.
Holy Fire, okay. Huffer's dead. Not bad. Oh, what?
It's a 15-5 Yogg. He's got Kill Command synergy. Oh, he
That's
did get the charge, yeah?
That's one of the best Yoggs I have ever seen.
See, Zalae's not unlucky.
Okay, yeah. This is, I think that's literally the only moment in Hearthstone when you can cast play-by-play, and it's okay.
Yeah. Just kind of say what Yogg's doing. And what it's doing right now is winning. He gets another one, right? It's Spirit Echoed.
I think it's actually Infest.
Oh, Infested, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Slitherid Swarmer. Not a bad Druid card. Hero
Definitely
Power
not.
activates it. It's no Aya, but so I think you just play all the Jade Golems and punch him in the face.
Might be the best choice, yes.
Yeah. Spawns an 8/8, and then he spawned a 9/9. Yeah. This game is over. But how do you win the most?
You need to play the Slitted Swarmer just to have fun, you know?
Are you sure?
Nah.
Enchanted Raven, you'd squeeze in a hero power. You might need additional value. No, he's going to get him with the Swarmer. So it's going to be 1-1 now. Zalae able to get a win with that Jade Druid. Just barely. He did need to get pretty lucky with the Yogsron to actually be able to close it out. But
I think that Volcano is not enough.
no, it's not even close.
The Volcano had to be bigger. It's like, I don't know what kind of level, but it had to be like super huge. You know what's even funnier is the fact that when you roll Air Power Totem is actually detrimental to Volcano.
Yeah.
Because it adds 2 HP and only 1 damage on the Volcano.
Well, it depends how good you are at controlling the Volcano.
Okay. Well, if you're like the Shaman from first Indiana Jones movie, then maybe.
Yeah, you're able to do it. If you can just make all the Volcano go on your opponent's side of the board, then Spell Power is fantastic.
Actually, that wasn't the first Indiana Jones movie. Anyway, 1-1.
1-1. And that was Zalae's easiest deck, I'd say, to get a win with. And it still took him 2 tries. So even though he's got a favored lineup, he is not having an easy time of it. Every player voted for Zalae to win this series.
Wait, Stansifka made a change on the blackboard.
Well, that's the Zalae versus Stansifka matchup they're setting up for.
Okay,
Yeah,
never mind.
they're taking the votes for that one. But they don't know yet if... I guess they're assuming Zalae won already, which is kind of BM. Even the tournament organizers have already decided, well, Zalae's probably going to win based on the lineups.
Well, he's not in the room, so...
Yeah, he's not in the room. Nobody can see it.
Yeah,
but
and they can switch it really fast.
Right, when he
case
walks
it goes-
in. Yeah, sure. But now he's going to listen to the broadcast and know. So poor Naiman. But he's fighting, man. 1-1. And now he's got Control Paladin, or N'Zoth Paladin, excuse me, up against the mid-range Murloc Paladin with Black Knight from
I
Zalae.
love the Black Knight. I actually was convinced in the beginning of Ungoro that Black Knight will become a staple once again in the metagame.
Why is that?
Because there was so many taunt minions introduced, right? But at the same time, it didn't happen. I was like, okay, interesting.
It's so good against the 4/8 Dragon, Primordial Drake. It's really good in this matchup in particular because what your opponent wants to be doing on turn 6 is land Spike Ridge Steed.
Yeah.
And then you Black Knight it. It's fantastic.
Well, it's still 2/6 is like left behind.
Yeah, but
it was basically a flash wound for the guy.
It's still a really good play.
Yeah, I agree. Well, even if Naiman will lose the entire match, he has one thing that not a single player in the tournament, I think, has.
What's that?
A wife.
Oh. Well, it doesn't help you win Hearthstone tournaments, so I don't know how much that's worth. I imagine he wants to try and coin out this Rallying Blade and start shutting down the Murloc synergies. Trying to develop a Hydrologist into it seems a bit greedy. I guess maybe not. It's only punishes War Leader, right?
Yeah, but the War Leader punishes you like pretty heavily.
Yeah, you do pretty much lose the game if War Leader comes out.
So
but you get to save the coin if there's no War Leader.
Has to be a War Leader. I can't believe that there's no War Leader.
I mean, there's a War Leader in the deck, but it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not always in his hand.
Okay, but still, you have the blade for this particular reason, right?
Well, the shutdown minions, yeah. But he wants to hold on to the coin so he can try and coin out Karen, I guess. Get it out faster. Try and fix his curve.
It's really interesting because also what the blade does in those 2 turns is plays around Blessing of Kings as well.
Well, he gets rewarded. He's able to take out the minion with just the Hydrologist. It's fantastic.
That's pretty damn sweet, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you're in a bad matchup, you got to take risks. And Naiman is, at this point, very comfortable playing bad matchups. He's had a bad matchup every game of the tournament thus far. And this is game 9 for him. So he's getting very well versed in how to take risks.
I completely forgot that Zalae is actually running Vine Cleaver.
Oh, yeah. And Onyxia. He's got some extra top in there that helps him close out games in these control matchups. He is aggressively targeting control.
Sounds so weird.
Yeah. Weapon gets to come out, clean up the Murloc, disabling the Gentle Megasaur. But the Gentle Megasaur isn't even that bad to still be able to come down, give the weapon nothing really good to swing at. You could also just Blessing of Kings him in the face.
Blessing of Kings is fantastic. It's like your opponent has to react with a Peacekeeper. He doesn't have actually anything else in the deck that is a good response in this situation.
Yeah, there's no silence or anything in the deck list for Naiman, so...
Equality is not really a good option here as well.
Yeah, he's just taking a beating.
That's a fantastic turn for Zalae. Basically what he does is he puts a 4/4 charge minion on the back of a 1/1.
Right.
It's his steed.
Yeah, his steed is the Blessing of a King. He just upgraded that recruit into a knight. That's what King's Blessings do, right? That's a thing?
Yep.
Naiman could try and set up the Doomsayer this turn. There's only 6 power in play, so if you just play Doomsayer, sometimes it works. Your opponent would need to respond with either another Blessing of Kings, a Consecrate, or a Stampeding Kodo. If they don't have their 1 copy of Kodo, you could get away with the Doomsayer going off. And that's what he's thinking about trying to do.
Move quickly.
I like the Doomsayer, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He tries to go for the Doomsayer and hope there's no Kodo.
Yeah.
It's just like, how much do you want to commit with it? He's committing the redemption with it, I guess.
So he kills the 1/1 to make
plays
sure
around
that it's
Consecrate.
like Noble Sacrifice. Like he bluffs this.
Okay, bluffs Noble Sacrifice, but also plays around Consecrate. Because if Consecrate plus the 5/5 trades in, then the Doomsayer comes back to life and still goes off.
Yeah.
So you play around Consecrate, you play around the weapon from Zalae because he only gets 2 attacks, so he can't kill 1/1 when it comes back. And you're real sad if Kodo happens, but at least if Kodo happens, the redemption gains you 5 life. Because he has to send the 5/5 into the 0/1.
So it's definitely not a terrible turn, although he's still behind.
Oh yeah, he needed that Doomsayer to go off if he wants to win this game. But he's got some semblance of a chance. It's nowhere near as good as the Doomsayer actually activating. Now he's stuck in a pretty awful position.
I feel like he needs to go for the Kern.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing it into a 5/5 though, and with no way to clean it.
Actually, what if you just go for the Infested Tauren? You get some damage, but then you're able to play Kern, then you get another turn of damage that's 10. That's actually pretty.
You're gonna die real quick, yeah.
You're gonna die after that. So you can't really play for the Nzolf. You can't keep the coin for the Nzolf.
I think it's too slow, yeah.
Let me
He needs an equality clear, and he's got neither pieces of the combo in his hand.
What if he goes for the Stonehill Defender into Gastropod?
That could do it.
That might be one of the reasonable ways of dealing with those 3/5 and 5/5 minions.
I mean, that's the most defensive line he could take, but I think you gotta play the Karen. You at least get the Bane out there. It's just the most stats you can put in play right now. And maybe you find some way to clean off this 5/1 after it takes the trade. But we can see here, all Zalae is gonna do is Aldor this bad boy and keep chucking things at the face.
It's a lot of damage.
Yeah.
He's the aggro deck right now, especially with that Black Knight in his hand.
Yeah.
He's able to squeeze in insane tempo and still maintain the just aggressiveness. And the Hydrologist will also just push for some more damage, allow him to play Redemption. Even if it doesn't matter if it's a 1/1, it's still more damage piling on. And if something else dies, that means there's more than 1 damage just on the board.
Yeah. So the only thing he's really afraid of right now is the equality clear that could potentially come out from Naiman. So he has to try and set up as resilient as a board as possible. Getaway Kodo allows him to have additional resources afterwards.
I like the getaway Kodo. Even if there's a taunt next turn, you can just Black Knight it, so you don't need Repentance, sorry, for that at all.
The only issue with the Getaway Kodo is if an Equality Clear does come out, you're getting a Silver Hand Recruit, because that's the first minion in play.
But that will mean that your opponent has to top deck it.
True.
This turn, or it doesn't work.
They might have it and just coined Karen with Equality Consecrate in their hand, you know?
Really? You think so? With so much damage.
Yeah.
Like coming to the face.
Because you get Karen to stick then. So you get like a 4-5 afterwards, after the Equality Clear. I don't think it's crazy, but yeah, he doesn't have it. So Naiman is just kind of grasping at straws here. He can heal for a turn and try and get it, you know, the next turn. Because he does have the Pyro now, so if he's able to pick up Equality, he can make something happen.
Okay, Wicker Flame actually keeps him alive for a little bit longer.
Right. The Black Knight doesn't quite kill him anymore. He's activating the Bane so that he can have trades for the following turn. Naiman can win this. I imagine Zalae is just going to slam down the Black Knight here, take the value trade onto the 1/4, and then send 8 more upstairs. Because you have to believe Naiman would have Equality cleared that over the play that he had made. So you kind of put a read that there's no Equality clear. So just continuing the pressure as you were gives you a very favorable chance just to close the game out. Other lines, he could try and go for the Gentle Megasaur plus Rallying Blade, try and accomplish something with that.
The Getaway Kodo is actually a huge problem right now. Whatever minion, apart from the, of course, Silver Hand Recruit, will get killed, it's insane value for Zalae. So Naiman needs to target the 5/3 first of all.
He wants to kill the 5/3 anyway, so it works out for him there. He can heal for 14 this turn, getting up to 18.
Well, if he kills the 5/3, that means 5, 8, 12 is being kept on board, so even if he would be able to play the Ragnaros, it's just a no-go.
He still just needs to find the Equality. He's just stalling and stalling and stalling, hopefully, or hoping anyway, that he can pick up that Equality, get the clear, and then just have just enough taunts to stabilize after the clear.
Well, that is really an opportunity. You don't want to do this move in any game.
Right.
It's literally just postponing your death until you find
desperation play.
Yeah. So it's still 12.
Yeah. Gentle Megasaur has 1 adapt that could lead to lethal.
Well, Wind Fury and +3 attack is both. No, sorry. Wind Fury is not +3 attack. Here we go.
That's lethal, yeah.
Was enough for Zalae to seal the deal and take the lead. First time in the series. 2-1.
2-1. Zalae still has his Shaman deck remaining. His Rogue deck was banned. And then his final deck remaining for the set is Mage.
1 moment.
Yeah, he's got a Mage deck.
Wasn't banned?
No, the Rogue deck was banned, I believe. So he's got his Gunther Mage, which is a little bit greedier. It has Archmage Antonitis, Pyroblast, Medivh. You don't typically see Archmage Antonitis in there as well in the top end. It has a Burgly Bully also.
And Pyros.
Yeah, and Pyros. So it's got a bunch of greedy techs that can help it against some of the control matchups.
Okay, yeah, the Rogue was banned. But Naiman's Mage was banned.
Yeah, Naiman's Freeze Mage was banned out. So Naiman still has to win with his Paladin, his Jade Shaman, and
the Priest.
And the Priest. Well, no, the Priest won. The Priest is his only deck that won. The Priest won was Druid. It's the Taunt Warrior.
True.
The Taunt Warrior, oftentimes on ladder, when you come up into this match, it can struggle a little bit against the Mage. The Mage can oftentimes outvalue it with Medivh If you have weapon removal and you're able to line it up on the Atiyesh, usually you're able to cut off the Mage's big engine and you have a chance. But this Mage deck, having Medivh and Archmage Antonidas, it's a little more difficult. There's just more threats. And Pyros. You know, they just have so much gas. So Naiman needs to be able to complete the quest rather quickly and close out the game before Zalae can outvalue him. Because at the end of the day, the Mage deck has more value in it than the Taunt Warrior deck has. So it's a race to get the quest done and put pressure on the Mage so they don't have the mana to spend all their high-value cards and set things up.
Cards like Burgle Billy in this situation are not really that valuable for Zalae, since Naiman is not really playing that many spells in the deck.
We could see this Dirty Rat pull out an Archmage Antonidas.
Yeah, it happens every single time, right? Oh.
He's going to play the quest right now, right?
Yes.
And then
next turn,
next turn, Zalae is going to play Arcanologist, and if he doesn't draw a minion, then in Dirty Rat comes down.
Yep. I can see it already happening.
Oh
First of all,
my.
maybe if Naiman wouldn't have 2, he would have not played.
He's going to play it.
But in this situation, he has 2 Dirty Rats.
Yeah.
I feel like he just will go for it. So otherwise his 2 cards are dead. He cannot do it later on until he has Brawl already in hand. And the faster in game you're able to play the Dirty Rat, the more advantage it gives to you. In the beginning at least, right?
It just fights for board really well against the Mana Worm, right? So
yeah, but the problem is, like, the chances are he can pull out Bully, I mean, Harrison Jones, Antonidas, Medivh, Alex Straza. Basically, those are the options. And he goes for it. Turn 1, right?
He's going for Dirty Rat. He's not even getting quest progress on it, and there's the Antonidas out. No spells to play alongside it, though, so Naiman has the potential to pick up an Execute and make something happen here, but...
He needs that Execute right now.
Yeah, he needs it today.
Well, interesting turn 2 on Antonidas. With charge.
With charge.
Seems pretty decent.
So now Zalae has to wonder, why is Naiman coining Dirty Rat?
The only answer would be he has Execute.
I don't know. I don't know. He doesn't even get quest progress on it, so this is a very confusing play to me. I don't know why he played it instead of the quest.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it
right, like even
bikes him back. Now 2 tones are being played without any progress.
He's going to have a very hard time ever completing this quest. I don't understand. You get the counterspell down now, which can stop the Execute.
It's insane.
Right. So I guess Naiman's game plan in this matchup is to exhaust Zalae of resources instead of completing the quest and saving the quest as a tool to deactivate counterspell. But Zalae's deck is so greedy, I don't think that's a viable strategy here.
I mean, if he wants to greed out in this matchup, then he shouldn't even keep the quest in the beginning, right?
Well, Zalae has counterspell. So keeping the quest to be able to beat the counterspell is
it's
the
one
logic.
counterspell.
Yeah, but they draw it a lot because of the Arcanologists. But yeah, I agree with you though. I think it's questionable to keep the quest when you're going for this outgreed game plan. Right? Yeah, and I think it's very questionable to not go for the quest. I think this whole game plan that Naiman had since turn 1, where he went coin Dirty Rat into Dirty Rat, not getting those procs on his quest, is very questionable. Takes the trades this way to play around the Ravaging Ghoul.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, now he has another cheap spell to play into the counterspell, right? But is there a point in playing the quest now? It's like
yeah, it's so hard to ever complete it at this point because you discarded 2 taunts with it.
And another one goes through.
Yeah, he's definitely not completing the quest anytime soon this game.
That is so weird.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, good for Zalae. He picked up the fireball because now he's able to kill the 1/4.
Right. I mean, honestly, you could probably just fireball every minion for the rest of the game and push faces Zalae.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah, this is just not how you play the matchup.
Execute? No. Battle Rage. And he plays into the counterspell.
Right. He assumes it's counterspell at this point. He wants to just... the Battle Rage isn't being very useful anytime soon. He has no board control. He's just going to concede, yeah.
Well, that was fast.
He maybe overthought that one.
I think so.
I think he had this... He was trying to figure out how he's supposed to try and win in an unfavorable matchup, and he thought really, really hard,
And came up with a really innovative line.
Innovative line, yeah. That's what we'll go with. It's sometimes you get yourself in the fancy play syndrome where you try too hard to do something cool that you end up doing something dumb.
That's almost a nice way of saying someone misplayed hard.
That's yeah. I mean, but there was a train of thought that he had. You know, he roped out that turn 1. He's in a disadvantage. He needs to do something different, and that was not the something different he needed to do.
But I can tell you that as a caster or a viewer,
right,
I love those games.
Oh yeah, they always are weird to watch. Something crazy usually happens when people go away from the norms and try something new. But Naiman's been having that kind of day all day. He has brought the wrong lineup to this tournament for his group, and he's had unfavorable matchups every game, and he's usually been sticking with it. It's been cool to see him able to squeeze out some wins here and there, being as unfavored as he is. But this matchup is a tricky one. We saw this earlier in the Zalae vs. StarSeries series, and StarSeries was able to actually beat Zalae in this matchup, the Taunt Warrior up against the Jade Spirit Echo Shaman. But that was because StarSeries was able to get the quest done extremely quickly and have both brawls to aggressively push face damage.
That was the game where 2 public defenders would play.
2 public defenders, so he could just pump out the quest as fast as possible. Yeah. So he already has a Stonehill defender, so that's very solid to help him try and complete the quest. But yeah, it's a race against time. He needs to be able to get the quest done before the Jades start getting out of control. And then hopefully string together ways to push enough damage. Use executes and stuff at very clutch points to push damage.
Still not that easy. Like,
oh, it's tough.
Shaman has so many ways of just refilling the board. And actually Devolve is one of the best answers to those taunt minions that the warrior is playing. Because usually they're pretty low value. So you can change it even like, you know, they have high health while with a low cost. So if you can just change them into a lower cost, they will most likely lose a lot of health in the process. By the way, there's another public defender.
Yeah, I don't know if it's public defender time. You can get the Pompous Thespian out or even the Dread Corsair, because Naiman is going into 4 mana next turn and doesn't really have anything to do. So I wouldn't mind the Dread Corsair.
And he doesn't have any other 2 mana taunts in the deck. So
well, he's got 2 Dirty Rats.
Oh yeah, right.
He's got 2 Dirty Rats, 2 Armor Smiths. So he's got 4 cards he could potentially draw that cost 2 mana that he could play alongside the 2 costing card. So he could sacrifice 1 health, and that's what he's doing. He's sacrificing 1 health on the minion for the ability for 4 live top decks.
I don't know if the trauma from the previous game will allow him to play Dirty Rat anymore. I mean, in this matchup, it's almost worth it every single time.
Right. The Shaman has pretty much nothing that you wouldn't mind pulling.
Apart from White Eyes.
Okay. Yeah, it was when they get it off Stonehill Defender, sure. Like, other than that, it's like Harrison Jones is the biggest minion in their deck.
And every other minion has a battle cry that you basically
decline. Negate. Yeah, you get rid of the Jade counters, which is insane.
Dirty Rats are just insane against rogues. Like the quest rogue. So you deny the battle cries, it's just nuts.
You just deny them playing the minion against quest rogue is nuts. Yeah. And they're all 1-drops pretty much, so.
Wait, what was the minion called? 3 mana 1/4, all battle cries cost 2 more.
Nerubian Weblord.
That would be a sweet card in career metagame.
That would be. There's so many battle cries played with everyone playing Stonehill Defender, everyone playing Primordial Drake.
Yeah.
Imagine you get towards your turn, you get to turn 7, you have a big board as an aggro deck, and then you just slam Nerubian Weblord, and they can't Primordial Drake you anymore.
100% sure that this card would have been played in aggro Druid.
Oh yeah, for sure. It would be insane.
Actually.
I know aggro Druid runs a lot of battle cries too, but it's a good way to. It's like a Lotheb kind of against a lot of the decks. Shutting down Primordial Drake's huge.
It should be a non-symmetric effect though.
That would be sick. Then it would be played in just every deck in general.
Probably.
But I imagine we're going to see him just clean up the board, keep ramping the Jades, squeezing out the totems, lowering the cost of the thing from below.
I don't think he has to be greedy with the White Eyes. He can just play it on curve next turn. He doesn't have to wait for the Spirit Echo.
Right. You want to Spirit Echo a Jade card anyway. That's better than Spirit Echoing a White Eyes. Or you want to Spirit Echo the counterpart of the White Eyes, the 10/10 that you get shuffled into your deck.
The Storm Guardian.
Yeah, that's a much better target.
Well,
He's got too many cards in his hand to really Spirit Echo.
if he coins out this turn a 5-drop, the White Eyes.
I'd like to see him do that. You kind of want to save some of your cheap Jade cards to pair with Spirit Echo later on. So saving this Jade Spirit for the Spirit Echo later on is very powerful. So yeah, I'm down with the White Eyes this turn.
The other option would be just to play Jade Spirit this turn, sacrifice the 1/1 Golem, and pass, and then next turn to think about Spirit Echo just to get a Jade Spirit back at some point. But to be honest, like, you can get a Stonehill Defender as well, because you will have 6 mana, so you can play Stonehill Defender into Spirit Echo. It's a nice way of refilling the hand. But you will have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8 cards. You can only get 2. And 2 totems are still there. Yeah, he goes for the Spirit Echo.
He goes for the Jade
Sorry,
Spirit,
for the
yeah,
Jade Spirit, yes.
over the coin White Eyes. Values the coin for something. He holds on to the weapon as well. To help him play around Brawl a little bit, I assume. Because if Brawl comes out, now the 1/2 kind of dies for free a lot of the time.
There are so many different ways of playing the decks nowadays.
Oh yeah, especially these crazy control matchups where different players have kind of different ways that they like to play the matchup and different objectives that they're going for it.
It's hard to estimate why exactly, in this case, Zalae keeps the coin. Right?
Yeah, why is he keeping the coin and why is he saving the weapon? Those are two things that he chose to hold on to that turn with his line of play. And
most likely the weapon will be helpful with a Malsum Portal next turn.
okay, so they're just trying to set up his AoE that he has in his hand.
Because he spreads out the damage wide right now. With all the minions having 2 attack 1, that means he's able to attack into multiple taunt minions and set up maybe the best possible Malsum Portal next turn if he rolls the Air Power Totem, and it's actually a huge chance to roll it.
Okay,
But I'm not sure, actually. I'm just guessing here, because it's not an obvious choice.
right. He does have that Maelstrom Portal available to him. He still has the mana. He could play White Eyes if he wants, and he could try and set up a Spirit Echo this turn, as he could hit double Stonehill Defender and a Jade Spirit, which are powerful things to hit with the Spirit Echo. Then you run into problems with a little bit of overdraw, though.
Yes. But he can play the coin, I guess, to just get more place in the hand.
Yeah, it's really
Space,
awkward
sorry.
with this hand size thing going on at the moment. He needs to try and force removal out of Naiman. He needs more pressure on the field. That's why I'd really like to see this White Eyes come out, just a 5/5 body that emits a lot of pressure. He could try and play the Jade Chieftain this turn, coin that out, continue ramping the Jade Golems, and then have a very powerful Spirit Echo set up for the following turn.
But that, if you'll play the Chieftain this turn, it guarantees your opponent, if he has Brawl, he will play the Brawl.
Right, because it removes the 2 Jade counter cards,
Yeah.
so you can play around the Spirit Echo.
So he doesn't want to generate the value for the Ali Amosmith for his opponent. This is why he's not trading right now. Interesting way of playing this game.
He wants the Brawl to come out and the Alley Armor Smith to kind of just get swallowed up in the Brawl.
Yep. But if there's no Brawl... Well, that's beneficial for him. If there's no Brawl, that's super beneficial for him.
Is it, though? Giving the Taunt Warrior more time seems bad.
Well, it's already, like, kinda slow.
Yeah, but you have to translate your minions on board to be doing something, because then you want to be able to refill your hand with Spirit Echo, repopulate the board. But if you're never refilling your hand with Spirit Echo, then eventually the board's just going to die and the Taunt Warrior is going to have the quest completed. Giving him all this time, I think, is a negative, because Zalae can't really do anything until Naiman decides to clear this board, because he needs to be able to redevelop and then cast Spirit Echo so that he doesn't overdraw in his hand right now.
If you sacrifice both Jade Golems, he will have 5 cards on the board that can get Spirit Echoed. And
Okay.
he has 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards, -2, so minus coin and Spirit Echo, that's 7. He will draw 1, that's 8. If he's able to play at least 2 other cards, he might just go for the Spirit Echo this turn.
It's a very powerful Spirit Echo.
Wow.
He's not going to have very much things left to Spirit Echo if Brawl comes down now.
I'm really surprised by that.
Yeah. Not setting that up earlier,
I mean, Naiman didn't play Brawl last turn.
I guess. But, yeah, but the board's not pushing very much damage. Naiman's at 40 life. He doesn't need to Brawl.
Oh, you're saying he's playing Priest, Quest Priest? 40 life?
Basically, he's got the 40 life out there, and
Without the quest, oh, look at that.
and so like when the board isn't too much pressure, you can just kind of hang out as the warrior because you know the shaman can't play their Spirit Echo because of the fear of overdrawing. So you kind of get to control the game that way and slow it down, and you have more time to complete your quest, which is just super beneficial because your deck doesn't really, you know, achieve its full potential until the quest is complete.
To be honest, I don't think like overdrawing is a problem when you have a guarantee that you will get high value cards from the board.
Well, the thing is you overdraw those high value cards from the board.
Well, that's only if your opponent can really sequence it correctly when it comes to killing them, right? He needs to kill the totems first, and then...
But the totems were played first. So they just, in a brawl, for example, they would come back to the hand first.
Oh, that's a huge swing. And now Zalae is left with no Jade. Never mind.
Oh, that's pretty big.
Okay,
You can
that's
Spirit Echo the Aya and the Jade Chieftain.
Yeah,
oh, you do
and-
that every time.
that is amazing,
Yeah.
but he didn't have that option.
I know. That's why I was really sketched out about it. He's been pacing this Spirit Echo, but it works out for him. He is definitely rewarded here. I have to imagine coin Spirit Echo, and that's just going to be... That is tons of Jade value. 2 Ayas against Taunt Warrior is insane. You can't really beat that. And he even
that's
gets another
insane.
Chieftain.
That is just insane.
Yeah. That is tough to come back from. And Naiman's still a bit away from completing his quest. He still needs to play 3 additional Taunt minions.
Basically what the Spirit Echo did is added 3 more golems to the deck, and those golems are bigger than the potential maximum of the deck. I actually
Right.
didn't check what's the maximum potential for it.
So he's
Like,
got
is
2
that-
claws, so that's... And then
Two
two
Jade
lightnings,
Lightnings, 2
Aya, 2 Jade Spirits, and then 2 Jade Chieftains. So the natural size gets up to 10 with the Aya, you know, acting as 2 buffs. So now you're getting up to 13-13. Or no,
Pretty sweet.
yeah, 13-13.
And he still has 1 Spirit Echo left.
I would like to see him aggressively play minions. I think you have enough pressure to close out the game a lot of the time. You're worried a little bit about the Brawl, because Brawl hasn't been used. Naiman was able to clean up the board earlier with the Sleep with the Fishes. Okay, double devolve to try and just reduce the power in play.
There is little time.
Now you can just clear with Maelstrom Portal.
Clear? You mean 2 minions.
Well, yeah, and then, you know, you finish off the Tink Master, I assume. Yeah. Does not care about losing the totem, sure.
It might be actually beneficial if he gets Spirit Echo next turn.
Get rid of your own totem.
Yeah.
That's the funniest part about this deck. You need the totem to lower the cost of your thing from blows, but then you hate having the totems for when you actually draw the Spirit Echo. It's really funny. The totems are just this weird anti-synergy. But 6 out of 7 on the quest for Naiman, so he's 1 taunt away from being able to complete it.
And it's still gonna be tough for Naiman to actually win the game.
Yeah, he can kill everything except the Aya this turn, which is quite nice. Use the War Axe, swing at the taunt totem. Swing your Tink Master into the 4/4 Golem. Complete your quest. Not a bad little position to be in. He has 2 Brawls in his deck. So,
That's his emergency button.
well, the thing about Brawl, once he completes the quest, Brawl changes from clear the board into clear the board and deal 8 face damage. So if you get both of those brawls, that's 16 points of damage on Zalae's face. And then one swing of the weapon, because the other swing gets Harrison Jones, and that's 20 damage you're looking at. So it's not unreasonable for Naiman to still be able to burst Zalae down if he's able to find the second brawl.
That is true. But that is under assumption that Zalae doesn't find any healing cards.
Right, right.
And he still has two Jinjus, right?
He still has both Jinyus, and he still has Hot Spring Guardians. So he's got all the healing remaining in his deck.
Yeah. And still a Spirit Echo to go alongside that, if he will feel like he needs to fall back on more healing.
But the Jade Shaman is not a draw-heavy deck. It is possible for the healing to be kind of buried a little bit, and that opens the window for Naiman to be able to Sulfurous and rag hero power his way to victory here. The Warrior Quest does a lot of damage.
What's your personal feeling about the quest for the Warrior? Like, you feel
Quest
it's
Warrior?
too powerful? Yeah.
I don't think it's too powerful. I think it's actually a really interesting deck. I think a lot of the time the better player does happen to win. I think the whole memeing... I did a whole show with Kibler and Frodan where we focused on Taunt Warrior, on Omnistone, and talked about, is it bad for the game? Is it more or less interesting than Old Control Warrior? And I think Taunt Warrior is harder to play and more interesting than Old Control Warrior.
Really?
Yeah, just because you have an objective that you're striving to complete, there's different ways you can go about trying to complete that objective, and you play very differently in different matchups. I think it's trickier. Knowing when to save resources and knowing when you're supposed to use removal and when you're supposed to hold it back is a lot trickier. With Old Control Warrior, you just killed everything. It was really straightforward. And in this one, different cards do different things at different stages of the game. So it's really important how you pace yourself.
But that's also under the, because of the fact that the older Control Warrior didn't have that many interesting minions to be played with.
Right.
Nowadays would have been a different deck because the minions would have been way different from the old ones.
Yes, that's true. That is not where you want your rag shot to be going. This gives a very nice Harrison Jones for Zalae. He needed the ability to draw into his heal, so being able to draw 2 additional cards here, he's not taking 4 to the face from the Sulfurous either, so lots of gas being granted. Naiman took a pretty big risk there equipping the Sulfurous. That guy's big.
I feel like you can actually wait for the Spirit Echo still. If you can get another Aya...
No, I think you
with
got
the
enough
Spirit Echo?
gas. I think you just jam out the Storm Guardian. It's big. Force your opponent to brawl. A third of the time it lives. If they don't have Execute, you know, it's fantastic. I want to see him trade the 5/5 in, trade the 4/4 in, drop a Storm Guardian, apply some pressure.
No, he attacks with the 4/4 first, so he goes for the
Jade
Jade Lightning.
Yeah. Sure. Ramping the Jades is very strong as well.
That is actually better than the Storm Guardian because it requires the same attention. Like for the Storm Guardian, it's actually a super big minion that can be left alive. While what it does is it still gives Zalae a card that can be paired with the Spirit Echo.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter if you want to keep the Jade Lightning to finish up the game behind the taunt line or something like that. It's not going to happen. The way he's going to win is by superior board control.
And dodging 3 rag shots.
Yeah.
Oh. So there's still a brawl left in the deck for Naiman. With
And
another brawl, he could set things up.
That Hot Spring Guardian doesn't really do much because it's still 2 hits from the Ragnaros.
Yeah.
But in this case, you already have seen 1 brawl. So now you can try to go wide. So there are a few options here. One is Aya.
Yeah. I would have liked to see just Aya double thing from below without using the hero power. The hero power makes you a little bit weaker against brawl and adds, you know, absolutely almost no benefit.
Well, he doesn't want to play the second thing from below, but at the same time, I feel like even when you play just 1, you don't play the hero power.
Yeah, even when you just play 1, why play the hero power? It doesn't really help you.
Oh, look at that.
Now
If the 1/1 survives,
if the 1/1 lives, yeah.
that will be some really justified punishment.
Right. So brawl can come out here. You could try and execute before the brawl.
I
No.
don't feel like it.
No, because you want that Searing Totem alive. So I'd
Yeah.
like to see just the brawl happen. You hope the Searing Totem wins, and then you can Whirlwind execute, guarantee the Rag Shot to go face, and then some of the time you win the game next turn.
And the Jade Golem is an 8/8.
Right.
So it's actually still in range of the Ragnaros shot.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the time. This is when you just keep pushing.
Hey, this is the time no one has a Yogg.
Yeah, not Yogg time, but it's
Brawl time.
Brawl time. A different ding ding.
But it has a ding ding. Actually, it's literally a ding ding.
Yeah, it's literally a time. Yeah. See?
Ding. And it wins the 1/1. Oh my god, punished.
There is justice. But why doesn't
never
he
mind.
whirlwind? He could have
Okay,
whirlwind
I'm-
execute and guaranteed the Rag Shot to the face. Why didn't he do that?
I have no clue.
Was it because the rope was burning?
I think so, but I feel like it had to be done, right?
Yeah, why not?
It's an amazing play, and you set up lethal for
You
next
set up
turn.
lethal for next turn around the healing of the hot spring.
And even if there's a Yinyu, as you pronounce it, it's still okay.
Yeah.
Because it develops a 4-drop that gives 1 overload for the next turn.
How now you got to connect 2 Rag Shots through this garbage. Like there's almost no way you're going to be able to connect them both now.
Man, that was a really weird game. I mean, sorry, a really weird turn.
Yeah.
So now he needs to use both executes.
Yeah. Yeah, now he's executing.
Still the same target that should have been executed last.
Right,
last
yeah,
turn.
he executed the target that he could have executed last turn, but now he's not connecting 8 to the face.
And he got 8 damage to the face himself.
He took an additional 8. Yeah, you're right. I do not like how that worked out for him. I would have really liked to see him guarantee that 8 to the face. Just whirlwind execute the 8/8. Set your opponent to 4.
Okay, I don't like the Sleep with the Fishes as well. If he can get a ghoul next turn, he's able to kill those minions.
This sets up for Primordial Drake better. Guarantees him have better targets here.
Okay, that's a good point.
But I mean, all Zalae has to do is play the Storm Guardian. Both
Yep.
executes, both brawls are gone. Storm Guardian comes down, should seal up the game.
It doesn't die.
It doesn't die. He just needs to have Storm Guardian in play and then minions that can be used to clean up the Hex afterwards. So you just heal up your minion with the Hot Spring Guardian, and then nothing stops you. If you don't heal it, then or you don't play the Hot Spring Guardian, then Primordial Drake can come down.
You can always play Mana Tide Totem. I feel like...
Well, no, because
What?
then Primordial Drake comes down, and then if you have to Hex the Drake, then you can't actually kill the frog, so the 10-10
Good
doesn't
point,
make
good point.
it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow, that Searing Totem is actually pretty sick.
So Zalae is going to take it 4-1 over Naiman. A little bit of a rocky start, but able to get the job done at the end of the day.
And that means Naiman is actually out of the tournament. The first player to go out.
Yeah, sad to see that. He was the best performing player in the group stages.
6-1.
6-1 in the group stages, and then he comes here for the LAN finals. Not the same story. What changed?
Lineups changed.
Lineups did change, yeah.
Lineups changed, and I feel like Naiman changed from a winning strategy, the aggro lineup that he had in the group stage, because it was warranted to be like way more powerful in
Right.
that stage. But he changed his mind completely, while assuming a wrong metagame from other players.
Yeah.
And if something like that happens, you usually go out of the tournament, like whatever
Right.
the tournament is, right?
You have to have a strong metagame read, especially when you play such a polarized lineup, right? If you just play like the generic, these are the good decks on ladder, you probably do all right no matter what the metagame is. But when you play a strategy like Naiman chose, which is I'm going to target all the aggro decks, and you don't verse aggro, you're going to have a rough time of it. So no fault to him as a player. It's just sometimes you get a wrong meta read, and I mean that's a skill set you have to have, being able to identify what people are going to play, out mind games them.
It's especially amplified in tournaments like these, when there's only 8 players.
Oh yeah, it's huge in 8-player tournaments. You know exactly who your first opponent's going to be, so going into that, you're already mind gaming with that guy, and then you know the other 7 players in the tournament. It's huge emphasis on getting the right reads, which is why I think these tournaments are so cool with only 8 people, because you see a lot of wacky decks, you see a lot of people trying to next level other players, a lot of mind games happen.
Yep, I like it as well. And now, did I hear correctly?
Yeah, you heard correctly.
Okay, so we have something unique, something you would never think will happen. It's a cooking video. Let's see.